Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama to call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth-telling, more problem-solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. How is everybody doing this beautiful Wednesday morning? Are we okay on radio today? Hello, Radio Land, Bobo 103.1. Good morning to all of you. Let me just turn up my audio here so I can hear myself. Believe it or not, it matters if I can hear myself. Woo, feeling a little warm in the studio today. Let me turn down the air conditioning. Thank you, CUC. No radio. Lord have mercy. All right, give me a second. Let me let me get the radio going. I figured because I had a little Chrome issue again today. All right, hold on, radio folks. We're coming through. right, folks, we're in the radio, in your ears on the radio. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How many of you are listening in your cars right now? Can we have a beautiful good morning to all of you? Thank you guys so much. I have a little joke for you. Hold on, let me send out the links to everyone listening on, let me grab YouTube. 1 second. Morning, Instagram, folks. How you guys doing, honey child? All right, give me 1 quick second here. Okay, let me just grab this one. Everybody good? Hold on. Oops. Gotta mute it. There we go. All right, so I have a joke to tell you, and I think you guys are going to laugh. I hope you laughed this morning because it made me giggle. So I was looking for a particular clip that someone had sent me, but the way that they recorded it, I needed the clean clip from Austin and Elio's afternoon show. And so it just so happens that right before they made this comment about what is it? Right before they made this comment about the port, because they seem a little bit obsessed with the port and getting you guys to vote in favor of the port. So before they made this comment about, these are all expats wanting this, who don't want the port, expat millionaires, and they're the devil. You got to watch out for them. And I was like, Lord Jesus. So someone sent it to me last week. They were actually telling me as they were talking about it. And I was like, whoa, these people are a little bit crazy. And so, I'm like, yeah, okay then. So anyway, I was looking for that clip. And as I was looking for that clip, I came across hold on 1 second here. I came across them talking about me, but then they can't do it directly. Why do you guys, I don't know. Some of these guys are such cowards. I mean, that's the only word that I can think of to describe them. They are so cowardly. It's like they want to say something, but instead of them just coming straight and saying it like I would, because y'all know if I had something to say about them, I'm just going to say it. They try to be like passive aggressive with it. They try to gaslight you, typical narcissistic behavior for men, quite frankly, instead of just manning up and saying what you got to say. Not even manning up, because everybody, not just men, should be very direct and forthright in their thoughts and in their comments. But, they don't do that. They try to low-key say stuff. So I need to show you guys how they low-key tried to come for CMR, because I'll be honest with you, I had a good chuckle. Let me just find it here real quick. I had a good chuckle when they said this, because I was like, oh, no, you didn't, Austin. Poor you. You trying to look thing, boo-boo. I got you. So hold on 1 second. Let me get it. I have it here. Yes, here it is. Okay. All right, so listen to this. This is Austin and Elio trying a thing, passive-aggressive behavior. I don't like passive-aggressive behavior, honey child. I'm like, if you're going to say something to me, please say it directly. That would be the best way to communicate with me. I'm that kind of person. Direct communication works best. All right, but check this out, folks. Look at him here.
Debate tonight on the Chamber, broadcasting by Bobo 103.1 tonight on your radio dial. So you don't even need to change the channel whatsoever. That'll be on tonight after our Straight Talk program this evening. So we encourage as many persons to tune in and have a listen to it.
Don't even have to change the dial, you said.
Nope. Just let it run.
All righty.
You may want to change it in the morning. I don't know. That's up to you. But as we tell them, in the morning, since Straight Talk started on February 10th, now you can have an easy morning drive. Don't stress yourself out. Play some music. Hell, talk to your kids on the drive to school, and then tune us in on your drive home.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's perfect advice.
I think so.
OMG. Are these guys for real? They're trying to say that you guys are stressing yourself. He was coming in so hot, I had to turn down my ears a little bit. He's saying that you guys want to be bored to death like you are in the evening watching them. snooze fast. Nobody wants to be bored in the morning. You need a pickup, and you don't have to drink Red Bull or coffee to get it. We're here for you. OMG, they're trying to be so salty. But you know what I need to put with that and then post that on social? The guy who called them, what did he say? That they're wannabes or whatever. Oh my God, this is when I need that. This is when I need that clip now as well. Oh, I'm trying to organize my clips, folks, because trust me, I be getting some good clips now. And I'm like, ooh, honey child, we need to make sure that we can clip those for you and post those up. Remember the guy says you two are a bunch of wannabes and washed up and whatever, one-hit wonders. Oh yes, thank you so much. That's the word he used. He's like, you guys are a bunch of one-hit wonders. Yeah, okay. I could say so much more, but I won't. I'm gonna play nice. You know, we share the Bobo space for now, and they'll be fine. They will. Oh, somebody sent me. You did not just send me that clip, girl. Y'all are so saucy. Oh my God. Hold on. A student right here in the house. I love it when you guys are naughty. I absolutely love it. Hold on, let's do that again, because this is how, when I put it up on Facebook a little bit later on, this is how I'm gonna do it. This is exactly how I'm gonna do it. Hold on. Okay, you just sent it to me and I saved it. 1 second, honey child. Yes, come on through. So let's play it again.
Debate tonight on the Chamber, broadcasting by Bobo 103.1 tonight on your radio dial. So you don't even need to change the channel whatsoever. That'll be on tonight after our Straight Talk program this evening. So we encourage as many persons to tune in and have a listen to it.
Don't even have to change the dial, you said.
Nope. Just let it run.
All righty.
You know, you may want to change it in the morning. I don't know. That's up to you. But as we tell them, you know, in the morning, since Straight Talk started on February 10th, now you can have an easy morning drive. Don't stress yourself out. Play some music. Hell, talk to your kids on the drive to school, and then tune us in on your drive home.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Perfect advice.
I think so.
This is the man from Scranton. I don't need to call no name, but I just here driving on a beautiful evening listening to you guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I would like to really ask you guys, what a point of this show is. What a point of this show. All 200 elected chances in Cayman, and they didn't do nothing. Now when I got this talk show about straight talk, I want to get to the point and find out, want to waste on the time for about straight talk? This show needs to be named One Hit Wonders.
All right.
Yes, that's what they are. Oh, what a snooze fest. They want you to be bored in the morning and the evening drive. Like, come on now. You don't have to do that. Oh, just because they're boring. Oh, have a nice chat with your kids. Listen, kids love this show. I can't tell you the amount of 9-year-olds I'm running into. That's why we got to keep it PC till 9:30, because they're like, listen, Miss Sandy, I listen to, I go to Cayman Bay and I see these lovely kids. They go to CIS and they're always like, oh my God, you're the honey child lady. And I'm like, you listen to my show? And they say, yes, my mom has it on the radio driving to work and we learn so much stuff. Can we do a picture? Can we do a selfie? And I'm just like, come on through, honey child, because we are all about fun. Listen, learning and community engagement does not have to be a snooze fest like those two want you to believe. No, Austin and Elio, being boring is not fun anymore. That's so 1990s. Get with the program. All right. They say you can take it easy in the morning. Listen to, slow, easy music so you can fall asleep. Because when you fall asleep, that means that you don't know what's happening in this country. You don't know how they're wasting your good earned money that you're having to pay in concessions and duty and all sorts of other stuff. Not concessions, but duty. And you don't know what the government is up to, all the shenanigans. So don't fall asleep. That's what they want. They want you to fall asleep, because if you fall asleep, you don't even go to the polls on election day. And you know what that means? They get to say, well, the people voted in the port. Well, the people voted on gambling. Well, the people voted on decriminalizing marijuana. So now we have the people's voice. No, 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 no. Y'all need to show up. Show up on April the 30th. Less than 2 weeks, less than 2 calendar weeks. You show up and you represent. Actually, today is exactly 2 weeks, isn't it? No, yesterday. What day is today? Hold on. Today's Wednesday. 2 weeks from today. Yeah. Yeah, it's 2 weeks from today. You show up, get up early, have your bath, look good, and show up and show them who's in charge. It's not the two of them telling you what to do in the morning. Oh, I want to have a snooze fest. AD Harding says, yeah, I saw that clip and those guys are ridiculous. They're beyond ridiculous. Morning, Brother Paul, joining us from Bermuda. Listen, when they're having their snooze fest, only 5 people are listening. We already have 340 plus another 20 over on Instagram. And that number is going to continue to increase here this morning. Morning, Sister Mitzi. Miss Marjorie is here. Miss Wee Wee. Sophia says, and they only have about 10 people watching on a good day. All right. AD says, straight talk. I want to get to the point. I can't even. Strong Wilt, how you doing, honey child? Thank you. I'm glad you noticed the top. I'm wondering if any of you are going to notice anything else. I'm not going to say anything yet, but we'll see. Good morning, Kimmy, honey child. How you doing? So, folks, go check out on the website. There's an editorial up. Somebody submitted actually a few weeks ago, but boy, we've been so busy. For Miss Julie Hunter, and they're saying the ant versus the elephant. How Julie Hunter's redefining leadership in West Bay West. Ooh, I heard y'all got McKeever all up in his feelings, and he is trying to comfort her. Mac, poor you. You'll be just fine. And the country will be better without you. So go on through, Miss Julie. Take him out. That is one race that I have no qualms telling you what my opinion is, and that it is time for McKeever Bush to go. All right. West Bay West, I hope y'all do the right thing, because trust and believe me, we need it. We need the help. All right. I noticed the link isn't showing up on the page. That's why we only have 400 people listening. Let me just put it there. Give me one quick second. And I know that'll shoot up to close to 600 once I put it on the main page. So hold on. I'm just going to say live now. And there you go. Now you'll see it on the main page, because some of you don't realize if you just click on the live tab, it's always there as well. But that's okay. I got you. I've got your back. All right. Tartarian says, amen. We need Caymanians to wake up, not fall asleep. Being relaxed and easy got us in this mess. Yes. And, you know, both of them, given their one-hit wonder tenures, they're all about that kind of life. Hello, Miss Ann Rice, joining us from Florida. How are you, honey child? Barbara says, first time I'm hearing about that straight talk show. Don't worry, you're not missing much, girl. You're missing a bunch of pro-port rhetoric and foolishness, and him, you know, having to go at expats and calling Caymanians Uncle Toms and all kind of foolishness. He is just, the two of them need Jesus in the worst kind of way. Island Pearl, thank you so much. Yes, I wasn't late. I was actually early in the studio this morning, but Chrome been a little finicky lately, but we got it. Akil joining us today. Happy hump day to you, my friend. Hope that you're doing well. The WhatsApp number for this show is, hold on now, 936-2626, same show number. You can call us on WhatsApp if you're overseas, toll free with Flow. So if you're in Cayman and, you know, you want to call us toll free, once you got Flow, you're all good to go. Debbie is in Thailand. She's moved to Thailand, Caymanian in Thailand. She says, Thailand in the house. Good morning, Debbie. How are you? AD Harding says it's real laughable to see all these folks who don't even work in tourism riding so hard for the port. Well, listen, you got to make a decision because again, April the 30th, you've got to vote on these referendum issues. Now we have the elections office coming in on the 25th, and they're going to talk about how this will work. You don't have to vote for a candidate. And I suppose you could just vote for candidate and not vote for the referendum issues. But let me encourage every single qualified Caymanian who's on that registers list. You can go online and double check that you're there. We need you to show up. We need you to vote. And we need you to also vote on the referendum questions as well. This is very, very important. All right. So we're going to get it on April the 30th. I'm rising early because we're going to be here having all day coverage right here in CMR. And then, of course, I need to vote as well. So I'll go do my voting first. And then when I come back in, we will hit the show and get all the good details. I hope the polls open really early because I'm getting up and I'm dragging my whole family out because for the first time, Marlon is going to be voting. I'm so excited for him. He is going to be voting. You know, we haven't even had a discussion about who he's voting for. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, he's running. I mean, he's voting in the election. So I'm excited. This is his first time. All right. So we got the candidates corner today with TCCP in the house. Shane says the man from Scranton. I love him. That's Skippy, right? The one that John was getting aggressive with on Friday and was trying to beat up at Zodiac, or Globe, or whatever it's called these days. That's the same Skipper. I think that's him. All right, come on through. We've got the former premier is my prediction of the Cayman Islands. I'm giving him a little jab here. Mr. Andre Ebanks, West Bay South. Good morning, Sir Andre. How are you? Uh-oh, you got yourself muted, honey chow.
Good.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning. Can you mic test? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Well, good morning to you. Good morning to the listening public and Caymanians overseas.
Yes. Thank you. So, Mr. Andre, you've only got a little bit of time with us this morning. I know you guys are working hard on the campaign trail. We're also going to bring in Mr. Wayne Panton for this first segment, and then we've got two other TCCP candidates coming up afterwards. So let's go ahead and invite Mr. Wayne Panton on the show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning to Andre, and to all of the wonderful listeners and viewers that you have all over the world and all over our wonderful Cayman Islands.
Yes, thank you so much. Gone well over 400 now just on social media alone. And Bobo 103.1, we know tons more listening there. So good morning to both of you. Let's just talk a little bit about the campaign trail. I know you guys have been working extra hard. So we just want to do a little check-in, get a little update about how things are going. So West Bay South, Andre, what have you been up to?
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. From canvassing. Tonight, for example, we have a meet and greet for Easter. Mm-hmm. We thought, given that it's Holy Week, we wouldn't do a very large production in respect of the week. And we know a lot of people go away and a lot of people go to church. So we're going to have a meet and greet, just to have some fellowship, honor the holiday. And then also, of course, I'll have some of our party messages and where we want to take the country forward. The week after, Kathy and I will do another West Bay meeting that we'll give you the flyer for next week. And then the big party final rally will be on the 28th. We're going to determine the venue and give you the flyer for that. And then on the 29th in West Bay, Kathy and I will have the final election eve rally. So it is going to be exciting. In addition to that, in the role of party leader, I've been attending the other rallies in the other constituencies and house meetings and canvassing with other candidates to ensure that they're able to raise their profile as high as they can in each of their constituencies or district areas, and then be able to drive the party messages and take it forward. There was a lot of work that went into the manifesto, which is now on votetccp.ky. Of course, there was the leaders debate. I could go on and on, Sandra.
Yes, and I must tell you, it would be remiss of me to not congratulate you on your performance at the leaders debate, because you came and you delivered very, very strong, and everybody was like, "Wow." Okay, then that was a side of Andre. By the way, that poll is still open. I wonder if I forgot to do the closing date, but anyway, I'll have a look at that. But we did our straw poll on who won the party leaders debate, and let me just double check because I haven't looked at it in a little while. Yes, honey child, you came in strong with at least 46% of the people participating said that you won, and I can tell you it's probably more than that, but there is a particular group who likes to skew the numbers. We won't talk about them this morning. I know what's going on, honey chia, but that's okay. Even with trying to skew the numbers, you still took it home. So let me congratulate you on your performance. And of course, just a reminder, he said he's doing a pre-Easter meet and greet this evening at his constituency office, which is right there at 111 Willie Farrington Drive. Yes.
That's
so
right.
Come on out this evening and you'll get an opportunity to, in a relaxed environment, speak with him, have a little refreshment and so on. Are the kids able to come? Because one thing I've noticed with you guys that I really, really appreciate, as a working mom, I've got an 8-year-old. Sometimes she has to come to work with me because, that's just how it is. And so normally she's bored at these types of events because they can be boring for kids. But you guys have made it fun. You've had like kids corners, arts and crafts, all sorts of things. Even when you had the one there by Tropical Gardens, you had a little area for the kids where they can go and color and be safe. And I love that TCCP is thinking about the family unit when they have their meetings and when they have these events. So will you have a little corner in the office again this evening if people have to bring kids that they can sit down and maybe do some Easter coloring and stuff?
Sandra, it's in the name, Caymanian Community Party. And in every facet, we're trying to incorporate the entire community. So at these meetings, if parents want to come, but then, okay, well, how will I keep the child occupied? Is the child going to be captivated by Andre Banks and Wayne Panton? We hope. But if not, let's have some other activities that the children can do. Disclaimer, there will be chocolates this evening. So if a parent doesn't want to have a child on a sweet tooth, full disclosure, there'll be Easter chocolates. But yes, we'll always be incorporating something for the family.
Very, very good. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for confirming that. So very good. Mr. Wayne Panton, you have been on the campaign trail, hitting it hard as well. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the beautiful district of Newlands, my former home, by the way. So Newlands has a soft spot in my heart.
Yeah, we have been busy here. Sticking with the theme of family, we have on Thursday, we have in the afternoon, we have the children's sort of Easter event, which is going to be similarly replete with chocolates and other sweets that may need some guidance from parents. But, it is about community. It's about ensuring that our young people that really, they're the ones that we're here doing this work for. And so many of them are engaged with us. We have young people that come up to us and just start talking about, things in their own way that they're concerned about. But it can't all be serious. Sometimes we have to have fun and we have to enjoy it. And so tomorrow we have the kids event at our office in Savannah, and looking forward to that. Hopefully, I think the weather will hold up. There won't be any rain activity. At least it's not forecast.
Yep.
So, and then this evening, I have a meeting at the large community park, which is on Hemlock in the center of Newlands. You go down, when you come in on Moonbeam Drive, you take a right onto Nathan Merrin, and then you take the next left, which is Hemlock. So we'll be kicking that off around 7 o'clock or thereabouts. So yeah, we've been really busy, having a lot of interactions with constituents, talking about issues, engaging on. In fact, we still have lots of work going on top of all of that, because constituent issues don't really go away. I've had some emergency type scenarios that I've had to deal with, assisting people to get passports and urgent applications for naturalization, to be able to do that, and traveling for sad events, unfortunately, in some cases, to funeral services for families. So all this work continues on while we are engaged in the process of campaigning and continuing our discussions with our constituents.
That's an important point for those of us who are incumbents, is that the constituency work continues in between the canvassings, the house visits that you're doing for the purposes of folks understanding the party, understanding the vision for the next term as you're continuing down the so-called campaign trail. But in addition to that, for incumbents, the constituency work continues. That is, in a way, for some of those matters are completely separate from the election. Folks who just need their normal help, where they're in circumstances where they need guidance or advice. So that's over and above the campaign trail.
Yeah, I actually played that clip yesterday, and I hope that most of our listeners got an opportunity to listen to it, where we were catching up with Sabrina Turner over the weekend. And she actually mentioned this, which I'll be honest with you, I hadn't thought about this, but she said, listen, our constituency offices are still being paid for, and they are still in use. And so, you know, now she has, let me just see if I can, because I thought she stated it so incredibly eloquently. I'm just going to play it again for listeners, because some people may not have been tuned in yesterday, but listen to how Sabrina said this, because this shows the level of dedication when someone actually took the time to have an office, have ran it properly for the past 4 years. And not just that, they're no longer minister, you know, but they are still committed. They're still getting paid for that office. And listen to what Sabrina said. All right. So Sabrina, we know you've got about 3 weeks left in the campaign. I'm sure there's a lot more going into the home stretch. So tell us a little bit about what you've got planned for the remaining campaigning season.
Oh yeah, home stretch it is, Sandra. Wednesday, right here, we're having a joint meeting with Prospect, myself, and the Red Bay candidate, Miss Natasha Whitelaw. We're having a joint meeting right here, 33 Marina Drive. And then for myself, you know, we're having the TCCP as a party. We're having a meeting that's scheduled for the 28th. And then the grand finale, which will be the eve of elections, the 29th, I will be having my final rally as well right here at 33 Marina Drive. In between that, I have gotten a number of requests to meet with different subdivisions and area meetings. People just invite me to their homes. And when I look, you're thinking you're going to meet a family, and sometimes you're meeting 6 and 7 families, which has actually assisted. And in between that, then you're doing your door-to-door. But what a lot of people have also been coming is utilizing the office as well. Because even though I'm an incumbent candidate, and right now as a regular minister, no longer being a minister, I've reverted back to just being a member running for electoral office.
Right.
But this office is still being paid by the government. So I have a responsibility to still be here. And this is open from 10:30 in the morning. If we're out doing, well, you know, the home stretch for mobile voting now is the 17th. We're doing that, assisting our shut-ins and all that sort of stuff. But I still show up here unless I'm pulled out to meetings, because I know that responsibility of running a constituency office.
Yes.
So I'm here from 10:30, 11 o'clock. If for some reason my office assistant and I are going out, there is a notice on the door. 99%, as it is campaigning time, we're in the constituency, not that far by. But you can reach us by phone, 922-8080. 746-9314 is the landline. 922-8080 is the constituency mobile phone. But that is my responsibility, being responsible, because the government is still paying for this, even though I haven't yet been re-elected. But I feel it is a moral responsibility for me to keep this office running, because it is the people's money, and that's why I'm here.
Wow. So listen to that. I mean, I did not even think about that. It's so interesting, but I hadn't thought about that all this time. That yes, the offices, because so many of them don't have offices, folks. That's why it doesn't even occur to you that this is a time that, you know, the offices are still being paid for, and Sabrina's office is still, and Andre, Mr. Wayne Panton, you know, their offices are still open. And by the way, look at Natasha Whitelaw in Red Bay, future home of Red Bay's constituency office on Duke Way, already identified, doing some prep work. And this is how organized this particular group is. So let's talk a little bit about Wayne and Andre, the organization that has gone into TCCP. Is very, very young, but let's talk about the things that you've done even at the party level to try to assist the individual members and get everybody organized to hit the ground running come early May.
So it does seem, and I get this comment a lot, that the party seems much older than it actually is. And the way in which the brand has taken off, the organization of the candidates. And I still pinch myself that officially we formed this in January of this year. So for us to have the sort of brand traction and the organization and the following, I think all of us are touched by that every day. It started off firstly with organizing the Constitution, embedding in the Constitution that we wanted to have constituency branches. So we're telling each of the candidates, you have to be visible in your communities. For my part, and I think also for Wayne and Heather and Kathy Ann and all those who are incumbents, you heard it from Sabrina, it's key to have that office because you are going to work. I was at my constituency office last night taking a constituent appointment at 8:30 p.m. And I remember the person thanking me and saying it was a couple, a married couple. And I said, thank you for taking the time. You know you're on the road and you know you're campaigning. But I reminded them, I get paid to sit here. So don't thank me as if this is some charity. I'm supposed to be here. So yes, it's late. And we want that level of organization and commitment to flow through all of the candidates. So once we have the complete team in place, and again, this will be my plug, vote TCCP straight, you will see that level of organization and commitment. And in addition to that, having the constituency branches outside the office where you're now involving the community, particularly those who then go on to become ministers, there just aren't enough hours in the day, enough days in the week to get to everything when you're a minister. So if we can include the community more to help us with resolving problems, identifying issues, it makes the party stronger, it makes the country stronger.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for that. And someone in the comment section just reminded me that, again, this today, actually, you guys are 90 days old. And for a party that is only 90 days old, I'm going to take my hats off to you and tell you that you have been doing quite a bit of work. We've seen that. Jamie says they also had a youth meeting last Saturday that was organized by the Youth Council. And, that's, again, having a youth arm, I think, is so incredibly critical and important. So thank you very, very much for that.
If I could chime in there, yeah, that goes to show how busy we are. We do need to mention the youth council meeting that occurred. So as fate would have it, that was actually in West Bay South.
Yes.
It was at Morgan's Restaurant, and the youth council led by and chaired by Leanne Tibbetts was absolutely amazing to see those young persons. There should have been some pics that have gone out to have shown the participation is there. There's probably 2 points to make. One, they featured heavily into the manifesto, because just when we thought we were done, and I think it was the last time I was on the show, I was rightly being pressed for when the manifesto would be launched. But part of the pause is that when we gave it to the youth council, they said, well, hold on a second here. There's a few things that actually, from our perspective, need to either be highlighted or not there at all, which is the value of having the youth council. So then we devoted a complete section to them. And even still, when we had the youth council meeting on Saturday gone, to listen to how they see the world and the questions that they have stops you in your tracks. And I'm so grateful for all of their participation, all of their ideas. They really do enrich the party.
Yep. And I see you guys organizing yourself on social media as well. Wayne, oh, there we go. I think you just dropped out for a second there. You're organizing on social media. So now you also have a WhatsApp channel. So maybe this is a good opportunity to tell us a little bit about that as well and how people can join the channel and get their updates, because some people are always asking me, when's the next meeting? And we post on, we get, I think, 99% of your marketing materials, and we definitely post that up. But sometimes people might actually miss something because we do post a lot of stuff, for the election and non-election news. So let's just ensure that people are aware of how they can join your TCCP channel for all of the latest updates and news.
So what we'll do is maybe we'll send you the link for that so that you can post and send it around, because we recognize that WhatsApp is probably one of the most powerful tools for communication. I know, for example, there are seniors in my community that may not be on social media, but they're on WhatsApp. and they can look for those messages there. So we'll send you the links, and you can blast that out so everybody can try to join to keep up with news, events, and commentary.
All right, fantastic. I was just looking for the flyer here as well so that I could just post that up, and I'll share the link in the comment section for everyone to definitely be able to join. Because yeah, I mean, listen, a big shout out to Tower Marketing, but they do this annual consumption report. And that consumption report, media consumption report, it actually says without a doubt that for people in the Cayman Islands, the number one way that we communicate with each other is via WhatsApp. And I can attest to that. I mean, I hardly even call people anymore. It's just like a WhatsApp voice note or video note, because you can do little video notes the same way. And, that's just how we're communicating. So make sure that you join the channel, you get on top of the channel, and that way you can get all of your different news alerts. They're doing community meetings, yard meetings, house visits. There's just a lot that's happening. So we want to.
And to that point, Sandra, if I could also thank all of our volunteers. There are people who just show up because they just care. They believe in the party, which is 90 days young. I'll say instead of 90 days old, we're 90 days young.
Yes.
And the folks who believe in the cause know what we mean by enough is enough of foolishness, enough of wasteful spending, enough of breach of protocols, and believe in the cause, not because they want anything out of the party, not because they want some specific goal achieved in the next administration, simply because they believe in the overall cause. And I'm so grateful every time we have a rally, every time we have people who show up for yard meetings, for the time we show up just to go canvass. I often sometimes look at them and how can I ever possibly repay you just for this act of kindness, because you believe in making Cayman a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And there, I've just posted in the comment section, folks, the WhatsApp link. Don't forget though, with a WhatsApp link for channels, once you followed it, you actually have to press that little bell button at the top right-hand corner in order to get the notifications. Otherwise, you have to manually go into the channel and look, which some people are okay with that because they don't want constant, notifications coming up. But if you want the notifications, make sure you turn the little bell on, because by default it's off. All right, sir. We have a comment that says, "Good morning, teacher and guests." Fantastic. Well, in today's session, I might not be the teacher, because we got some well-seasoned individuals here on the program this morning, both attorneys in a former life and in financial services. So absolutely beautiful. Andre, one of the things I would love to see happen when TCCP forms the next government is that you guys do more public engagement. Now, I think everybody knows that this is a sticking point for me. You get in, and I get that you get busy, and you're in the government building full time. You're still having to have at least one constituency day per week. But a lot of people want you guys to have maybe quarterly community meetings, as well as coming on this show on a regular basis. Now, I was talking yesterday about this, and we know that Mr. Panton had his Premier Access segment when he was Premier, and he tried to come on at least once a month, and people really enjoyed those segments. Having him on, talking about what was happening in the community. And so I wonder if you, if your party gets the government and you're the next Premier, can we get a commitment from you that at least once a month, we're not going to press you too hard because we know you're busy, at least once a month, can we pick back up that Premier Access show where you come on, just give us an hour of your time and talk directly to your audience members here?
Does this count with pickleball or not count with pickleball?
Oh no, that's a whole other situation.
Okay, so then that means I'll have two commitments.
Yes.
Which I'm happy to put forward.
All right. Very
so
good.
Pickleball is where I get to beat Sandra, but nobody will see it. And the Access is where she gets to beat me, where everybody sees it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah.
that sounds fair. Okay,
That sounds fair. All right, we'll
that's
do it.
fine.
We'll do it.
Thanks.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I mean, it's just listen. I listen to the people. I've got my ears to the ground, and the people want this access. They know that when you're here, they can call in, they can send in their questions, or they can just sit in the car with the kids and not be bored to death and just listen and educate themselves and learn. Now, listen, there's a lot of educating that our people need about government and government processes and how things work. So last week, there were people who were confusing being a finance minister with financial services. And I was a bit taken aback that what I think is, relatively easy to understand, there are people in the community who don't understand that. I had another listener who said to me, Sandy, I'm so glad that you took the time this morning to explain it, because I also didn't know the difference. So we need more civics, general education around government and how government works, so that people can understand the inner workings of the structures that are actually running this country. So again, I'm hoping that other members of your party, Mr. Wayne Panton being obviously a senior member with a lot of experience, having been finance minister in a previous life. Were you financial services when you were with PPM, Wayne?
Yeah, I was financial services, commerce and environment. And then in the, since 21 to 23, the end of November 23, I was Premier Minister for Sustainability, Commerce and Environment. Sorry, Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. And then also after March 21st of 23, I was the Minister for Finance and Economic Development, as well as Premier and Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Okay. So yeah, it is really important to draw that distinction, because so many times people get confused about it, and they think that it's one and the same thing.
Yes.
But we have a specific Ministry of Financial Services because of the significance of financial services to our economy, and the level of expertise and dedication in terms of time and resources that's required in respect of that, to ensure that we continue to emphasize and our success and to further develop financial services. So that's entirely separate from the Ministry of Finance, which is the ministry that is in charge of all of government's financial activities, both on the revenue side and on the expenditure side.
I've often wondered, I don't know if Wayne will agree, but I've often wondered whether or not the name should be Public Finance or the Ministry of Treasury, to make the distinction that you're talking about the public's purse, whereas financial services is talking about the regulation of financial services that are provided in and from within the Cayman Islands, because really that's what you're looking after in terms of the Minister for Finance. But I could easily see how the two can be conflated just because the names are so close. Because financial services does provide finance. That is a service. But I've often wondered whether or not, if we got the name completely right, if it had been clearer to people if one was Treasury, like the Treasury Secretary in the US or the Treasury Secretary in the UK, Minister of the Treasury or Minister of Public Finance, to make this distinction. But to your overall point, a number of us who are incumbents can tell you that sometimes a lot of the questions that you feel is just the organization of government. Some people just may not even know which department to go to, or if they do know the department, which ministry it falls under. So it's all, I think in our office, we have the org chart, at least, and I also keep a copy on my phone so I can just show people how government actually works, which also brought me to another point. I was talking to one of the youth parliamentarians and thinking whether or not that program should be expanded, because the youth parliamentarians see the cut and thrust of the debate in Parliament, but the other half is the actual MP life of actually sitting with the incumbents to see what it's like to field unexpected or unanticipated emergencies that come up with constituents, so they see that other side of being a member of Parliament.
Well, I mean, for sure. Hopefully, we can just educate people, generally speaking. So here's a good question, a good comment. And Mary, you would not be surprised probably to know that I brought this up before. I think Mr. Wayne Panton might remember this, where she says maybe they could do a day in the life of an MP video series throughout the year that not only shows the variety of work they do, but also explains how things in government function. Remember when I made that proposal back in 2021, Wayne? You might remember. So I agree with you, Miss Mary. It would be a great thing to do. But, you know, again, I appreciate that they are busy and it takes time to kind of organize. We can't show you everything in the day in the life of, but I think some of it can definitely be shown. So we'd have a caller in the line. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm excellent. You?
Yeah, pretty good. If you give me some more mangoes, I'll be even better.
Well, they're just about finished.
Oh, man, and I don't want them to ripen. Yeah. All right.
The whole idea of how our people interact with government is problematic because it's not properly taught in school. In the high school level, you have life skills, but it leaves out one of the most important elements, which is essentially administrative law, where our people graduate from high school and have no idea how our government, how do you interact with government, what your rights are, processes, nothing, unless you happen to have gone to youth parliament. But that's too up for chance. What you need is a core program. You have to take it because it's not if you're going to need to understand how to interact with government. That'll be a requirement in life. And I think at a very basic level, it should introduce some basics of administrative law concepts about, you know, your rights and how you interact with government, so that when our young people come out, they don't have to ask, well, how do I do this? They will know, even if they don't know the answer, they will know how to go, where to go and find the answer about government. Because we need our people to be functionally literate. It's not optional. And perhaps you can include a day in the life of the premier in that program.
All right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate the suggestion for sure. And, you know, sometimes it's just easier for people, because I get this all the time. It's easier for people to just pick up the phone and ask me the question. I mean, they're like, Miss Sandy, who do I call? What do I do about this? You know, because sometimes if they end up calling government, they're like, I can't reach anybody and I'm being passed around from one extension to the next. So I do field a lot of questions. And I'm happy to, obviously, if I have the time, to just respond to WhatsApp message or whatever. You know, it's no sweat off of my back for sure. But it would be good if people themselves actually understood more about how the government that they pay for actually works. Miss Barbara, good morning to you, my dear. She says, I'm not in your district. Good morning again. I'm not in your district. However, I would like to say that I'm very impressed with this group. Wish you guys all the best. Thank you, Miss Barbara G. Calista Hill says, Sandy, I agree to that. We need some kind of clear distinction of how the government works and what these people do. Because again, we have people who unfortunately think that ministers and MPs do certain things that they don't do. And, you know, clarity would be good. So we have a few questions coming in. We have here, this caller says, morning, Sandy, could you ask your guests whether their party would be willing to reduce the MP salaries and or make changes with the extra payments that MPs receive for such things as constituents' offices to maybe provide accounting as to how the money is spent?
I wouldn't be in favor of that for the practical realities of what you have to do as an MP. So in order to have those offices, you need to pay rent. You have to have ancillary expenses that go around running the office. the utilities around the office supplies, in order to properly staff and service the constituency. Those expenses are real, and they need to be implemented and kept in order to service the constituency properly.
Mm-hmm.
And in relation to salaries, I wouldn't see that as something that would be beneficial, because it's hard enough to motivate good people to leave their private life to become MPs. To make it even less attractive to get quality candidates would not be something that would be, I think, beneficial to the country as a whole. It's a tough job, and that's why you've noticed that you'll think in the community of people who think that person would be really, really good, really, really qualified to run, but they'll look and say, well, why should I risk it? I'm out here, I'm in the private sector, I make more money, I don't have darts thrown at me for trying to do good. To reduce it even further, I think you would reduce the pedigree, potentially reduce the pedigree of candidates that will actually step forward.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's a good point. And not only would you potentially be reducing the pedigree, but there is an argument there that you could potentially also be opening up people to being taken more bribes and that sort of thing to try to, supplement a salary, if you will.
And that was also, I read, I can't remember which political leader I read that was advocating for the salary level to be comparable to what the job entails, because if you lower it, it could raise temptation to what you said. So no, I think that the salaries are at a fair scale in comparison to what you have to do if you're doing the job properly as an MP.
All right. Anthony says, you see how easy that was to find a director of your new upcoming series, A Day in the Life of Being an MP, director Denny Warren. Anthony, I like how you're volunteering Denny. All right. This one says, good morning, Sandra. Can you please ask this to Mr. Panton? Thank you. Animal protection, please ask the candidates. Given the alarming rate of animal abuse and neglect in our society, dogs and large farm animals tied up 24/7, exposed to the weather without adequate protection from sun or rain, what concrete steps would you take to not strengthen? I think I meant not only strengthen, maybe, but yes, animal protection laws and ensure proper enforcement? Will you support increased funding for animal welfare organizations and stricter penalties for those who abuse the animals? Thank you very much. A quote from the 14th century Dalai Lama: the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its people and animals are treated.
Yeah, Sandra, I think everybody knows I am an animal lover, but the reality is we need to have an appropriate piece of legislation in the form of the Animals Act, updated to ensure we have the necessary protections and the ability to prosecute anyone who is abusing animals. And we've had some very terrible examples of abuse. So in general, farm animals, you should have areas where they can get some shade, obviously food and water. But they are going to be out a lot in the sun too, and in the rain. It's just what they do. It's not that they, it doesn't. I don't think that necessarily represents abuse, provided there are areas where they can find shade if they want it. But the domestic animals, the dogs and our wonderful pets, dogs and cats. Those are areas where you can have lots, particularly with dogs, you can have lots of abuse. And I think we need to have the Animals Act updated to reflect the necessary tools in order to hold people accountable where there is animal abuse and neglect. That is something that was, it was on the table. Gosh, I don't know if Andre can remember, but it's probably been at least 2+ years, maybe 2.5 years, in which that was supposed to be coming along with a full set of amendments to update that law, but it just never happened for one reason or another.
No. Political will.
Yes. And Irvelin's in favor of that, saying that some people leave their animals tied up all day, rain or shine. Yeah. Unruly Da Costa, good morning, says, good morning. Want to ask, why can't the government cut out the rollover? I'm happy to see what the MP is doing in that area. So when you say cut it out, Unruly, Do you mean not have a rollover in place at all, where people would stay here and be entitled to residency and status, or maybe just a clarification, but what do you guys think about the rollover, generally speaking?
I think the rollover itself, I wouldn't be in favor of cutting it out entirely if that's what's being suggested. The item that needs to be course corrected is that when the role becomes available, is that the Caymanian is there in place to take the job. That's the piece that's not working as effectively as it should, and I highlighted that in the leaders debate.
Ms. Kate says, I also feel that our Constitution should be part of the school curriculum, and someone took the good time to send this from your manifesto to say in the manifesto, this is stated, adapting the curriculum to integrate mandatory life skills training, critical thinking, and character development programs with academic subjects. We have a caller in the program. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning, Andre.
Good
morning. Well, and happy Easter.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
Wayne, I had 3 calls this week from young Caymanians working in law firms. And the report was not nice. The report was that so many of the people working in these law firms are from Britain or Canada. And the names, the derogative remarks about their skin color and about the color of their hair, the texture of their hair, and how the Caymanians are suppressed. They're not able to say nothing. They're watched like they're on the picket line, still in slavery. And it goes back to one of my personal cases with the same Juliana O'Connor. Toxic behavior and what's happening to Caymanians in this country. And I'm calling this morning because my heart is heavy when I had 3 different Caymanians call me to express their pain of what they're going through and no one to turn to. I personally also want to talk to you about that, to have something done. This is our country. Our ancestors built it. I had 2 uncles that went to World War II. Okay? We need this to be addressed. And I'm asking the TCCP, I'm asking all of the Caymanians that say they care, that are running, to please do something about bullying and toxic behavior in government, in the private sector. Because we should be leading, because the government has a responsibility to make sure that the people coming here are people that are going to respect us. When we go to other countries, we have to abide by rules and regulations. And we dare not step out of line, because we will get what we need and we're not going to like it. Some countries, just for medicine that we take, will put us in jail. But everybody can come here and do what they want to our people, and I don't like it, and I'm tired. You're wondering why some people and some kids are committing suicide. It's because they see mothers coming home crying for what they're going through on their jobs. Thank God I didn't have any kids to see me what I was going through, and for the lies that were told on me. And when my lawyer asked to have it addressed, nobody could show up. They could only do it in the office, but they couldn't show up to my face. Okay? And the bottom line is, kids are seeing what parents are going through. Okay? They hear the conversations. And this is what we need to have addressed. And it needs to be addressed. Now, are you going to have many more suicides? It's not all about kids trying to find their gender, or, they're being they don't know what they're going to do in life. No, it's not all about that. It's the stress that they're seeing family members going through. This one losing their job, their mother talking about how stressful it is at work. When are we going to level that playing field? Number 2, legal aid. When I had 3 Caymanians call me and told me what they're going through with legal aid, I personally am going through it as well. That office is a job that I did when I was at the court's office for 8.5 years. As you know, from reading my resume, I was deputized by Ina Allen to also be her deputy without a law degree, going to the BRAC and holding court with Judge Ramsey and Kipling Douglas. I've signed arrest warrants. I've signed warrants of committal. I've signed bail bonds, okay? And it is sad that I hear so many Caymanians are saying, we are denied, we are denied, we are denied, we are denied. Then let me ask the question, whose money is it and what is it there for if it's not for the Caymanian people and to help the Caymanian people? And I'm taking this personally because I am hurting. I'm hurting. And I got tons of people that is passing my yard every day, going around. Election is coming up. I'm handing out this photo. No one is picking up the phone and calling me and saying, Lisa, we need to sort this out now. I need to hear this. Why? Again, this nationality that is running this office is not a Caymanian.
All right,
when
my dear, lead me there.
When are we going to really take care of our people?
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So several questions. And if I can join in, just a quick comment on the second one, because one observation I think that needs to be made when it comes to legal aid, back in, I think it was October, November, when the Court of Appeal, for the appeal that I actually have coming up next month, pulled in, they requested an audience with the legal aid director. They pulled her in, and they were basically saying to her that she needed to give me legal aid for my case because this was a constitutional matter. And this was much more than just me and this criminal case, right? They were a bit surprised to still hear that in the Cayman Islands, the legal aid system is a means test system, no matter what, because they thought maybe there were certain exemptions. Like if there's a constitutional question, which this will become, freedom of speech and that sort of thing, they felt that there could be some sort of exemption in the law that permitted her to approve it, when in fact, it really is means-based. So you've got to be able to show the legal aid, your finances, any property that you own, any company that you're a director on. I mean, you have to lay your financial life bare to them because that is what's in the law. So, I'm well familiar with Ms. Stacey Park, who runs that office. And I think the criticism is not directed, or shouldn't be directed at her personally. It's about how her hands are tied based on what the legislation allows her to do and what it doesn't allow her to do. So I don't know how much experience Andre or Wayne have with legal aid, but have you guys looked at the legislation? Are you aware of some of the concerns and the issues? As Lisa's pointed out, she's having some issues there.
For me, I am only sort of superficially familiar with it. I have been involved with a few people in sort of complying with the necessary documentation that they need. But I mean, fundamentally, it needs to be a fair process. It needs to be one which is clear and one which is helpful to assist Caymanians in obtaining justice for whatever their issue is, whether it's a civil issue, whether it's a criminal issue. So I think what we should do is have some of the key practitioners in this particular area on both sides of the practice, the litigation and the civil litigation and criminal litigation, to spend some time having a look at that to see whether it actually is fit for purpose, whether it's addressing the various needs, and whether it's a fundamentally fair approach. I have heard some complaints. We've obviously heard one detailed just now. So I think it would be appropriate for us to have a review of that to ensure that it is meeting expectations and it is addressing specific concerns that both, the individual who is engaged needs to have addressed, but also just the general public perception. Because if the general public don't feel that it is a fair approach, then there is going to be negativity around it. But I think we've just had a very passionate sort of indication of some issues that suggest that we need to review it carefully.
Mm-hmm. And then the idea of workplace stresses and bullying, that remains an issue. I have a civil servant right now messaging me saying toxicity and incivility is rampant in the civil service as well. There's no one to go to for help. It's one big corrupt system. Mob mentality by those who are afraid to speak up. And then it also says here that the DG and the GMN, I don't know who the GMN is. Who's GMN? And the DG are the worst perpetrators. Wow.
Oh, that might be initials for someone.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, okay. I don't know who that is. Okay. But generally speaking, talking about toxicity and incivility being rampant in the civil service, can I ask you guys a quick question in relation to this? Because I know Mr. Panton has had to fire one of his own ministers for this type of behavior and worse. Do you have in your party, have you had your prospective candidates sign some sort of an agreement that would be tantamount to the code of conduct that you were pushing for, Mr. Panton? This would be a question for Andre. Have you had your party members sign any sort of code of conduct?
So we've signed a sort of initially a confidentiality agreement to make sure, because that was one of the things that we saw with the PAC government, as things were just leaking out around the table. As we continue to build the party, we are putting in place operating standards and procedures for every person, particularly those, hopefully all, if not the majority of us, are elected to subscribe to. And in addition to that, adopt formally the code of conduct that some of us for Parliament have already signed, and already signed a cabinet code of conduct. But I think what this relates to, what your question is, you can still sign those documents, because some of us already have. Wayne has signed the cabinet code of conduct. I've signed the cabinet code of conduct that's in place. We've also both signed the parliamentary code of conduct that didn't make it over the line because the PPM didn't sign. But I think the root of your question is more so the enforcement. So yes, everyone can make comments, then eventually sign in happy days. But when there's a breach, there needs to then be enforcement around it, because I think that's mostly what I hear, particularly since we're now recanvassing constituents, is that there are some really good laws on the books. There are some really good standards and conduct and procedures on the books. It's what happens when a breach has been identified. Will the breach be enforced? And that's what's really going to make the difference. And I think that alludes to the question that you were going to ask Wayne in relation to the experience he had when he was the premier.
Yeah, I didn't really need him to address it, because I think he's sufficiently addressed it. But I'm just saying that, I'm wondering, what have you put in place for people who are running with the party? So this is my specific question, to ensure that they run a tight line.
So the Constitution already sets out the disciplinary of how you can be expelled from the party. So we have that bolted in.
Right.
But I think that you need more than that. I think you actually, once you get elected and you have now had the power vested in you, you just needs to be a parliamentary code of conduct on top of that.
Okay. And injustices in the workplace, bullying, harassment, how are those issues best addressed both in private and public sectors?
Well, first, knowledge is key. So, for example, in the caller's case, I personally, and I'm sure Wayne would do the same, would love to talk to the 3 Caymanians that are experiencing it, because I've had those that have come to my constituency office and explained the situations. And I've gone to relevant managers of those firms and say, are you aware this is happening? Because there are cases where maybe not all of upper management is necessarily aware. So knowledge is the first thing of what's happening, particularly if it's in a very large organization where it may not be known and not everybody knows exactly what's happening at every minute of the day. So one, don't be afraid to report, express it, have it go through the proper channels. If it isn't addressed that way as it should in an organization, and you have to use an outside individual, So myself as an MP has called the manager and say, are you aware that this is happening? Sometimes they're not aware, sometimes they are, and they're trying to do their best to resolve it, and then make sure that the enforcement behind it when there is a breach, which is the point I just made in relation to parliamentarians. Because if that doesn't happen, then the offender just continues to reoffend, and then it breeds the entire culture of the organization that this type of behavior is okay when it isn't.
All right, we've got a caller on the line, and then we're going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Ozzy Bodden and Robert Bodden. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy. I'll be very brief.
Yes, good morning.
I just want to comment. Yes, well, good morning also to Mr. Panton and Mr. Evans. First of all,
Good morning,
let me congratulate you. Yes, please. I wish you luck on the election, but let me congratulate you also on the way your campaigns are structured. I understand like about 10% of the people who come, they come for the show and the music and just how nice it makes them feel. Now, about legal aid, I was representing way back some clients from West Bay. Miss Harris may call, I no longer call them clients, they are more like friends now. Miss Harris May, Miss Smith, Miss Annie Moulton, about beach access, and we were denied. They were denied legal aid to fight for beach access because it was said that beach access was not a matter of public importance. Fortunately, I appealed that to a judge, and we were able to get legal aid. I think the problem, you are right, Sandy, part of it is in the law, but part of it also there is the policy. If there's no policy to guide that, that's a little bit of a problem. About administrative law, which Daniel Allen talked about, you see, the problem with that is that the PPM government, which was there, headed by Mr. McLaughlin, was actually standing in the way of, although Danny talked about that in terms of teaching administrative law in school, which I agree with. But I tried to do it in government for free, for nothing, because you can't be a chief officer unless you understand administrative law. When the law says that decisions of public authorities must be lawful, rational, proportionate, and procedurally fair, there's a whole slew of case law which explains that. I tried to do that. They fought me to an extent of where when I took out a judicial review, they spent $80,000 to get a KC to come and prevent me from doing that. But finally, I think in schools, I think you need to teach not just administrative law. You need to teach, I think, the kids a little bit of the political economy of the world. Kids need to understand, for example, that this over-dependency on the United States, where you can't even get fresh bread, except if it comes from the United States. What if tomorrow Mr. Trump says no exports to the Cayman Islands? What happens? You can't get fresh bread within 2 to 3 days and so on. So they need to learn a little bit of that. In Africa, as I sign off, in Africa, we've taught the kids to understand more about the world and not just about those technicalities. I thought that would also benefit Cayman. I thank you very much. Good luck with the election again. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We do have to wrap up here, but there's a few people who are like, Sandy, please ask my question. So let me pull in just two more, and then we're going to let them go so that we can bring in the two Boddens running in Bodden Town. So the first one is in relation to pensions. So let me just see if I can grab this. Right. So this one says, good morning. Please ask the question if pension would be looked at with person spouses being automatically gaining their pensions. Person working all of their life should be able to designate their pension to whoever they wish, specifically to their kids, specifically when marriage of convenience where these persons are getting Caymanians hard-earned money. So the first thing you should probably do is not enter a marriage of convenience, but
I was gonna make that point. But under the plan that I had, I've designated my wife as a beneficiary. So I don't know if Wayne has seen this, but I hadn't seen that actually as being a specific issue.
No, I haven't had anyone particularly raise that, in terms of how family members benefit from pensions. I think the broader issue is that we have this real distinction between the public service pension and the way that operates
Yes.
And then we have the national pension system, which is under the National Pensions Act, and both are two separate things, and they should be much more closely aligned. I mean, pensions in the public sector shouldn't really be much different from pensions in the private sector, but it is. We need to have national pension reform in particular to address much of the problems and deficiencies that we have within the that system under the sort of broader national pensions umbrella.
And we could say, I mean, this is a good public service to shout out, as the public service pension is a very well-run pension.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
The investment performance on that seems to be a lot better in general, for example, than what we see across some of the other national pension plans. We see very erratic performance, and I'm not quite sure I understand why that should be so different.
Yeah,
it'll require some amendments to the investment regulations under the private pension, so they have a bit more latitude than they do now to be able to perform at the same level as the public pension.
Yeah, I think the question here goes to this issue, and this is why they went on to talk about marriages of convenience and a subsequent part of that, because so many people in this country, Caymanians, mind you, are entering into marriages of convenience that when they then pass away, they have outside children and these parents, their spouses who are going to take advantage of the Caymanian children. The Caymanian children are not going to get it. But this is something is within the law. Shouldn't have to change because some of you refuse to marry sensibly. This is where you've got to take personal accountability for the actions that you enter into. And yes, there are some seniors who are being taken advantage of, whether it's their Siemens pension or whatever, but those people, there are ways to challenge a marriage if they weren't competent. But if someone is competent and they marry, they have to understand that they are marrying an individual who is then going to get their benefits as a spouse if they should pass on first. And, I had an elderly gentleman who called me recently saying, he's part of a spousal abuse situation. She's now admitting, 10, 15 years into the relationship that she was in for the long game, but he's just taken too long to die. And so, she just wants his house. She wants his pension, all this other stuff. Well, there is something called divorce court, and you can expedite those things and make it happen very, very quickly. But what I would say to my Caymanians, young, old, and in between, just be careful who you marry, because not everyone is marrying you for the right reasons. And so if they're not marrying you for the right reasons and they just have a look, they're trying to get hold of your pension or whatever, you have to know that that person gets first dibs at it, and your children could potentially be left with nothing. But there are a lot of parents, I'm telling you, I've seen it with my own two eyes. There are a lot of parents, children, they're saying that they're not leaving you anything. You're going to have to make your own way. And they're going to leave it to the foreign spouse who's now become a Caymanian by marriage. All right, one final question, and then we got to let these two go. They said context. Many law school students are qualifying, but not being trained after they article, many of which are brilliant and have top marks and complete their articles without any issues or shortcomings. With this, the stigma is wrongfully placed on the candidate when in fact it should be placed on the firms, because they're clearly using this as an image and immigration tactic. Given that you're both Caymanian attorneys, what are your views on this? Will you support having firms commit to retaining newly qualified Caymanians for at least 3 years under regular employment conditions, thereby allowing them to at least get some seasoning and practice experience that they're able to secure other employment should they wish? As it stands, newly qualified attorneys hardly even get absorbed into the private legal practice if they're not retained after articles. This is an ongoing issue, and it's still not being addressed.
And it is a valid issue. Wayne's at partner level. I can tell you my experience coming up as an article clerk. There's no doubt that you faced bias. And in my case, some of my counterparts at the time would say, "Andre, you're lucky because you're only getting bias as a Caymanian. I get it as a Caymanian and a female. So I have that double standard. I have to work as hard to prove that my work is as quality as some others, where it's assumed when they come their quality be better than us. Yes, there are also good partners in there that I learned from who don't take that view. But yes, there is a degree of bias that occurs, and you do feel that you have to perform at your very best at the times where sometimes you're also training people who've come from away, and then they're assumed to have known, and then you're training them in the process. That does happen, but the more and more that Caymanians break through and shine, I think you'll see less and less of that. So as long as the Caymanian is performing and the rules and the regulations that are in place give you the shot, and once you have the shot, you maximize the shot to the fullest, then in my experience, then you're able to break through and retain and have a successful career.
Mr. Panton?
Yeah, I mean, there is no denying that there are some firms in which there are issues, and there is certain types of behavior that should not be tolerated, and the firm should have specific policies in place to deal with those types of behaviors, and to have a methodology through which complaints can be made to address it. Fundamentally, it's about culture. You know, if you set the right culture from the top, in particular within an organization, and you make it abundantly clear that this is the approach that needs to be taken, and that no sort of unfair deviations should be tolerated, then I think you have a different sort of reaction to or different experience within the organization. So it's fundamentally about culture, and I think we have the new legislation, which Andre, remind me what the correct name of it is now.
Legal Services Act.
Right. So we have that, which is supposed to be fully let me put it this way: when it's fully in place, there are supposed to be clear protocols, and there are committees that are that exist. I think there's about 4 different committees that exist under that legislation that will ensure that those protocols are in place, and that the appropriate levels of training occur, and that you have this kind of culture basically implemented and backed up by regulations, which will ensure that we have proper training, we have that kind of respect, and we have the opportunity for young people who experience things that are not appropriate to be able to voice their concerns in a constructive manner and have it dealt with in a constructive manner. Many people are afraid to say anything because they don't trust the system, and they think that there are going to be repercussions. But I think that if you stand up for yourself, that will get respect as well. There are times when you have people who are just bullies, and they can somehow fly under the radar and not get picked up by management. But those things need to be brought to their attention, because I don't think fundamentally any organization wants to have that kind of activity going on, and in creating toxic pockets of exposure. So I want to see this the new legislation fully implemented, which will bring about a very solid framework within which we can address so many of these concerns, whether it's issues of disrespect or bullying, or whether it's opportunities within the organizations to get a fair chance, a fair shot, and have not just a cursory commitment, but at least some sort of medium term kind of commitment, where it is clear that the person is either going to succeed or they're not. And the truth is, not everybody is going to succeed. Getting a law degree is not necessarily a ticket to partnership or success. Just like there are some medical doctors that are better off doing other things than practicing medicine. You're not going to get a consistent approach with all kinds of professions. But where you have our young people who are committed, who are capable, and who want to demonstrate that they have what it takes, there should not be anything in place which is going to effectively knock them off the path that they should be able to maintain.
All right. Yeah, sorry.
I know you're going to jump, and there's a few other points we want to make before you jump. But having been in that position, having experienced it myself, all I can say is yes, there needs to be improvement. Wayne has been there. I have been there, and you know that you're facing sometimes an uphill climb. This is why part of the reason, as it relates to gender, we were pushing, and Minister Kathy at the time, was pushing, and even when she resigned, pushed for the anti-sexual harassment legislation. We know that a raft of bullying, nepotism, harassment, bias happens. Continue to press. Don't let it. What I did in my case is that the number of Caymanians who are around me, we banded together, we shared experiences, we helped each other in areas of law to push through. We made cases to partners to say, like, this kind of behavior is not on. And as the legislation, even if you have a perfect set of legislation on the books, you may still face this, but continue to push through and shine through your performance.
All right. One more question. I know I keep saying that, but while you're on that topic, I'd like their feedback on the fact that we have persons coming to Cayman, teaching at the law school, and then vying for positions at local law firms. Ultimately, our lecturers have become our competition while seeking jobs post-qualification. So, wow. Okay.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with any of those scenarios. But I mean, that, that's no different from anybody else. From a firm considering someone from outside, they should have proper training programs in place. They should have opportunities for our young Caymanians to be exposed to all different types of work, and to to have full opportunity in the same way that they would do with any other employee, whether that they may get in on a work permit. We have to have fundamentally fairness, but there also has to be this recognition that there is a preference must be a preference for Caymanians, and fundamentally law firms, any organization really, should be seeking to promote the interests of Caymanians at every opportunity, and to ensure that there's fairness, and to ensure that there is no toxic behavior, no bullying behavior. And yes, we have heard of it, and I know, and I'm sure, as Andre has indicated, we all get involved in these things. We make calls to people and we say, are you aware of this? I think this is a problem. You should address this. Most people, will respond positively to that, and say, okay, I wasn't aware of that, and I'll check into it. I can't see how it helps from a commercial and success perspective for any organization to have a poisonous or toxic culture where these types of things happen. But we have to recognize that it does happen, and we have to deal with it. We have to have a legislative framework in place to address these issues and to make sure that there's fundamental fairness. But there's so many little things in between that we have to take action, to make those phone calls, to address the issues, and to tell people, look, we're hearing this, we're aware of this. Please look within your organization and make sure this is not happening, because it's not in your interest, and it's certainly not in the interest of anybody who is being subjected to it. So we all have to take responsibility. We all have to take action, and collectively we have to ensure that these types of things are stamped out, because we are dealing with human beings who are all imperfect, and they have issues at times. And I've certainly been involved in terminating people who just couldn't reflect the culture and who didn't have the right attitude. And I think that is what some firms, and many firms, are required to do if they want to preserve their culture and they want to to have that lead to, a good, productive, happy workforce, which contributes to their commercial success.
All right. We had a question from Miss Mary. Miss Juanita says, how can I get to vote if I'm overseas? Miss Juanita, you're barely making it because the deadline, the cutoff for postal ballots is tomorrow, April the 17th. So just a reminder, folks, contact the elections office. You can go to their website, elections.ky, and get the details on this. It's very, very important that you know that if you're going to be off island and you're unable to attend the polls in person on April the 30th, make sure that you're registered to vote by post, and you can still have your say in the general election and the referendum. So apply today at elections.ky. Remember that your vote matters no matter where you are. All right. So get on it, folks. That would be tomorrow because today is the 16th. So don't miss the deadline. All right. Thank you very, very much. Paul says, awesome show today. We're not quite done. We're going to bring in Mr. Robert Bodden and Mr. Ozzy Bodden onto the program as well. I do know, Jonathan, a few of you have been calling, but we do have to let these two gentlemen go. I heard Wayne might be able to stay on, but actually, Wayne, if you don't want to, because you and I need to sit down later on, go ahead and rest your voice box because I'm going to catch you a bit later on this afternoon. I got on my non-pickleball shoes chasing him. So that's fine.
I just have a couple of closing comments.
Yes.
One is, I do, you posted it. Well, one, remind West Bay South that we have our pre-Easter meet and greet this evening, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So come out for some Easter fun. On a broader point, I do want to encourage everyone to exercise their right to vote. Do not stay home. Hope is here in the form of the Caymanian Community Party. Hope is here in terms of what we can do. And that last point, as it relates, it was squarely focused on law firms, but you can expand that throughout the country. That's why I invite you to read the manifesto at votetccp.ky. And there, where we talk about immigration reform, where we talk about workplace development, that is where those issues are ultimately addressed, where you have a different point system, you have a different set of protocols and rules for work permits. That is how that, coupled with investing in social development and education of our people, is ultimately how this gets course corrected. So I invite you all to stay the course, look for positive information. And I fear, Sandra, because you're starting to see it already, in the last 2 weeks, things are going to get even nastier out there. There's going to be all sorts of misinformation. Individuals who have no milestones or achievements to speak of, which are going to turn to and pivot to the negative. They're going to turn things and say, well, yes, you were part of the last government, but then you quit. No, there's no such thing of that in the case of the four of us who left. We left because we stood up on principles, and some of those items that we were concerned about are manifesting themselves and coming to light and explaining our positions for themselves. Do not be fooled by misinformation. Do not be fooled by individuals who have little accomplishments that, as I said, have to turn to the negative. You have to stay on message, do your research, come and ask questions at our meetings, grill us if you have to. But please, Cayman, hope is on the way. Vote TCCP straight on the 30th of April. We, I promise you, can turn this country around with the right individuals who are not going to bend to self-interest, that only benefit a few and not the many.
All right, Mr. Wayne Panton.
Yes, indeed. Well, I couldn't really say it better than that. So let me just say that, I look forward to being able to meet with constituents this afternoon or this evening at my meeting. I know that there are others who are having meetings, and Andre's, his pre-Easter meet and greet is up. We have Anthony Ramoon having a meeting at 85 Martin Drive in Georgetown as well. No, let me just change that.
My apologies.
I can't read this clearly, but I was going to mention that he has a meeting this afternoon or this evening as well. I don't know if I can see the
There we go. So Anthony Ramon, we've got
exact date and
Tuesday.
time, location.
That was yesterday. That was probably postponed because of rain. But anyway, Wednesday, April the 16th, 50 Canal Lane, Crew Road, Adam Residence, from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. So please come out and support Auntie. I saw someone earlier mentioning that that's who they're going to be voting for. That was quite a while ago in the comment section.
Yeah.
But yes, come on out.
Auntie has a lot of support in Georgetown Central, and he's a fantastic candidate. Yeah, and then tomorrow we have the kids' Easter event as well at our office. So just encouraging everyone to come out and enjoy themselves. It's the start of an important holiday and important season. We will probably all have our visits to church and this type of thing. So it's a good time. I know there's lots of people who are out camping and are planning to start camping as well. Be safe, enjoy yourselves. Watch out for some of the issues that happen. Sometimes you have people cooking and getting burnt or something like that. Just please be careful, but enjoy yourselves. And fundamentally, it's a really wonderful and important time of the year. So again, I look forward to seeing everyone this evening at the park at Hemlock and Elderberry at 7 o'clock. And God bless and take care and have a great day.
All right,
and
fantastic.
remember the reason for the season.
Yes,
it's about rebirth and rejuvenation, which TCCP will offer. God bless.
All right. So thank you so much. Again, community conversation happening this evening at the park at Hemlock and Elderberry, at 7 p.m. That's Mr. Wayne Panton. Tonight, also, Mr. Auntie is having his meeting, and Paul the Man said that's who he's voting for. He says, I'm voting for Auntie. Auntie is awesome. He's having a yard meeting this evening, 50 Canal Lane, Crew Road at the Adam Residence from 7 until 9 p.m. And then again, quite a few Easter events, Easter celebration for Newland, Savannah area. That's going to be tomorrow evening from 4 p.m. until 7. Their office there in the Newland, Savannah area at number 9 Homestead Crescent. And then also Mr. Andre having his pre-Easter meet and greet this evening from 6 until 8 p.m. So lots going on. Let's talk now to Mr. Osborne Bodden and Mr. Robert Bodden. They're saying, put the Bodden back in Bodden town. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Morning,
Good
Sally.
morning.
Yeah, so good to have you here.
You're hearing both of us?
Yes, sir. Hearing you loud and clear.
Great. All right, just want to say good morning to all of our listeners and viewers, local and overseas, and happy Easter to everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I know you guys have been patiently waiting to get on. So let's just get into it and tell us what's been going on in the campaign trail for the both of you as we're coming into the home stretch.
Good morning to everyone, our listening audience, and the people of Bodden Town East. We've been actively, heavily going door to door. I want to say thank you for those residents who have welcomed me into their homes and have come out on the campaign trail to listen to my message. We're in the home stretch, and I want to encourage everyone to come out and vote on April 30th. Come out early to vote. It is your democratic vote and your choice. And please don't stay at home. I am in this race because of your calls due to your frustration with lack of leadership. So a stay at home is not a vote for change. A stay at home is accepting the same old, same old. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of work to do. Our people are suffering. This country is in the doldrums. We just need to look at these last couple of months, what the UPD government has burdened this country with this excessive spending and vanity projects. It's going to burden the lives of our youth and our grandchildren for years to come. And I'm thankful and happy to be a part of this leadership who will be guided by prudent, sustainable development and prudent spending. Cayman doesn't have a revenue issue. We have a spending issue. And I'm happy that the TCCP team will turn this around.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mr. Ozzy?
Yeah, Robert is absolutely right with everything he said. And yeah, we are on the home stretch, 2 weeks out. We've been busy, just going out and talking to as many people as we can, meeting up with people in groups, and just doing the best we can to hear from everyone. I think, to be quite honest, I think by now most people have made up their minds, and they've seen enough of what has been happening. Poor fiscal responsibility, poor social responsibility, the lack of support, feeling neglected as Caymanians, not being able to move up the ladder, no one there for them to hold on to as support. And in my area in particular, in Bontown West, the reason I'm running is because of the cry that was so loud from the residents in this area for proper representation. Well, Oz is here. That's why I'm here, to give you that representation, to give you my experience, to give you my energy, and to work as a part of a team. There's a lot of stuff that's being said, and the memes are coming and all that. We don't go there. We are different kind of people that want to offer real solutions and proper representation to these islands. I'd like to ask the folks who are creating all this stuff, is it that what is it that you fear about me? So, because it has to be that you fear me being elected. What will I do if I'm elected that's going to be so bad? What is it that I don't offer? What is it that I can't do that you don't want to see me there? Or is the real question the fact that if Oz is elected, that your dollar house is going to be broken up, and you're not going to have your funding supplies and all that good stuff, and your deals are going to be broken up? Is that the real reason? I think that that's the real reason why the attack is on the way it is. And it's sad that you can't offer more than that in terms of countering my offer to serve. Everybody knows me. I don't have any skeletons to worry about. I made mistakes. We all have. But I've corrected those mistakes, and I'm here as a good person, a person of integrity, a person of ability, a person that is a team member and willing to work hard with a good group of like-minded people. The TCCP is exactly that. We have come together in a short time, yes, albeit a short time, but we've found a common purpose. We found the Caymanian people at the top of our agenda. And that's what we are doing. We're building community. We're building a connection between our people. We're going to clean up our communities. We're going to work with them. We're going to put MP offices in them. We're going to have a branch and a district council in the future that will work and keep the unit tight, that we don't have to worry about, oh, I can't see my MP. My MP don't call, don't return my calls, don't return my messages. My MP is off somewhere that I don't know where, and I can't get in touch with him for months and months and months. No, that goes out the window with the TCCP, with Robert and Ozzy and the rest of the gang. We are here for our people. So that's the way I'd like to start off today, and we can go from there, Sandy.
Thank you so much. Somebody said, please give Ozzy a kaboom. Several people asked for you to get a kaboom. So there you go. Thank you, Jasara. Very, very good. So, end of the day, this is what the discourse should be all about. I think that when these candidates have to go so incredibly low, it's because they are scared. They see making traction on the ground in the community. They see themselves potentially losing this election. And so they have to resort to these tactics of misinformation and telling lies. Carrie, I do see you in the comment section. up in your feelings about your brother. We're going to take it to the good Lord in prayer, honey child. You're going to be just fine. I'm not even going to really address you directly this morning because I know that he's your brother, and I guess you're going to ride for him no matter what he does, and that's okay. She's saying you guys should tune into her a little bit later on. Go right ahead, honey child. That's not a problem. There is one thing that you did. Somebody just sent me this, where you posted a long diatribe 16 hours ago about Wayne Panton's most embarrassing moment was not long after he was declared. A few months into the leadership, his own party abandoned him, which included Andre, and you go on. Well, you know, Carrie, I often say that people are entitled to their own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And this is where you get yourself in trouble now, because you state these things like a fact. And I can tell you that Mr. Wayne Panton, he not got no time to be running to court like Dan Scott over this foolishness. But what I would say to you is this isn't factually correct at all. There are a lot of things that you've said in this that are not facts. The first thing is you talk about the fact that he has had 2 parties in such a short space of time. For the record, in case y'all missed the memo, TCHT was never a party. So that's the first thing. That's a fact, okay? That's not a matter of opinion. It was never a party. It was a group of independents.
I was a part of that.
Yeah, there was a group of independents who came together to try to form the government. They were never registered a party. They've never called themselves a party. And the intent was for them to never be a party. It was like, okay, what are we going to call this grouping of people that are trying to get together to run the government?
Just the 3 of us.
Yeah, the other thing that you've gotten completely wrong in your long diatribe, you talk about mass confusion. Well, there's definitely mass confusion, but I guess the question is on whose part. And you say that, his party abandoned him, which included Andre Ebanks. Folks, the Hansards are there for a reason. You can go back and look at the vote that took place, the vote of no confidence. Mr. Panton was not removed through the vote of no confidence. That's actually not what happened. Mr. Andre abstained, but his other party members stood with him. And my apologies, the PPM government was unsuccessful in getting the vote of no confidence. That isn't what happened. What happened after that was Julie, who you yourself has castigated on more than one occasion. I can remind you now in your own words and a lot of your videos, she went behind Wayne's back as Wayne went to the hospital to check on his driver who was having chest pains, because that's the kind of person that Wayne Panton is. He cares more about his driver and his health than he does about a position of premiership. Julie cared more about that position. So while Wayne was at the hospital tending to the driver and making sure that he was okay, she was going behind his back doing some more unsavory things. And then Wayne Panton stepped down and he resigned. So, these facts matter, Carrie. If you keep dabbling in non-factual information, that's why you're going to end up before the courts again. So just ease off of like I said, I know you're up in your feelings right now about your brother, Lonnie, and that's fine. I get the human side of you and that whole situation. You can support your brother, but you can't support him with lies and misinformation. It's better for you to just say to people, I support him because he's my brother. We would understand that. We don't understand you trying to justify his behavior, being let go from Cineco, being fired from his DLP job and all the other things, Sometimes you just have to call a spade and say, listen, I ride with family no matter what they do, okay? And it is what it is. But in any event, we've got 2 weeks left for the election. You've now flipped sides because your brother is pro PPM and you're now supporting the PPM. You're now going to support Julie and all the nonsense that she's done in Cayman back for the past 30 years. That's okay. That's your prerogative to flip and flop just like her all over the place. You can do that. Now, let's talk about more important matters since you're here in the comment section, lighting up the comment section this morning. We've got the TCCP in the House, who, by the way, have paid for the time to come and address the people, and share with them what their collective vision is, their manifesto, and what they have coming down the pipeline if they are successful. And for the record, somebody said to me, Sandy, can you please address the situation with the progressives, because they feel like I have denied the progressives an opportunity to come on the show. And I said to that person who messaged me yesterday, I said, let me be honest with you. If I sat down and addressed what these parties are doing, why they're making their decisions, it doesn't necessarily make them look good. And I'm quite frankly wasting my time. But to appease this individual, what I did is I sent an email to Mr. Joey Hugh, and I've asked him if he would be willing to go on record, issue a statement about why they have not come on the show and why they have not advertised. I've told you guys that he told me why. And basically the reason he said is because Barbara Connolly was upset about things that I said about her that were truthful things I should on my program, but nonetheless, she was upset. And, he is not going to advertise because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. Oh, I'm just saying he actually responded to me this morning. And so, I respected that. It was a private conversation. So there was a lot more that was said. And he has asked me to, not talk about those things publicly. And I intend to not do so. But what I would say is in relation to this very, very specific question, his response this morning, which I'm just seeing that he responded, I thank him for responding. He says, we had a private conversation, so I would prefer not to comment. So you're going to have to believe me when I tell you I have no reason to lie. He said that basically Barbara was a PPM and continues to be a PPM stalwart, and he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. And so therefore he cannot advertise on CMR because she would see that as an offensive gesture. Listen, they choose and make the decisions based on, they have their reasons. And so that's what it is. TCCP has taken a different approach. They have said that they're going to advertise on multiple platforms. CMR obviously being one of those platforms. And it is what it is. And I can't tell you anything more. All right. So let's just keep it moving. TCCP is in the house. Lee says, is this the same Carrie from the BRAC who was pro TCCP? Yes, honey child, the exact same one. But like I said, now that her brother has joined forces with PPM, she has had a last minute change of heart, just like Auntie Julie. Flip, flop, flip, flop. Anywho, carry on. By the way, Ozzy, take it over because I know you can talk good. Give me a minute. I'm going to go grab something real quick because I want to show you guys some of the fun stuff that I'm going to have for Election Day. Ozzy, take it over for me for a couple minutes. Tell us what you got coming up with your meetings.
All right, this is Osborne Barton, host of CMR.
Yes. How are you?
How are you, Robert? Okay, so we're gonna have. We're not incumbents, unfortunately, yet. So we don't have offices per se and the resources that go along with that. But we're going to be doing our little thing for Easter as well, Rob. So I think there's no reason why Thursday evening that we can't sort of invade the Savannah office, the community office, and see a few people. So we'll take the liberty of inviting our people by the Savannah office as well.
Remember now, I have my Thursday night yard meeting.
You're doing a yard meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Kipling Street, 74 Kipling Street. I'm inviting all my people in Bontown East and especially Kipling area to come out and hear my message. This will be my last meeting, yard meeting. So you are encouraged to come out. There'll be T-shirts, there'll be light refreshments, and it'll be our last meeting before Easter. I want to shout out to all those out there who's enjoying the camping season. Be safe, have fun. I will probably be visiting a few of you on your campsites, and I will be attending some church services over the Easter. It is a very holy weekend, so I intend to meet those people that I haven't really met on the campaign trail. So for the long weekend coming up, be safe, have fun, and remember the reason for the season. Thursday night, 7 p.m., 74 Kipling Street. Hoping to see you there.
Thanks,
all right,
Rob.
Thank you so much. You did a great job, Ozzy. Great job.
Thank you. I was host for just about a minute.
Yes, I see that in your future. We'll have space for you on CMR Radio and CMR TV really soon. So I wanted to
I will be going by the I will be, invading Savannah's office and in South New office and having some fun with the festivities on Thursday evening. And I will also support my colleague in Button County at his meeting after that. So it's going to be a busy Thursday evening. Good Friday is going to be for family and church. And Saturday, there's a funeral in the Savannah community. Someone is very close to me and her family. Going to go to that. Sunday will probably be church again. But in between all that, we'll be knocking on doors, pressing the flesh, touching bases with our people, and of course, visiting our favorite campsites that offer some nice delicacies. And even my own family, we camp as well, but we camp what I call modern day camping at a cottage that we have. So Nancy has a menu for each day, and we'll be around there as well. So anyone is free to pop into Sunrise, where our cottage is, where I keep my boat, and they can come and hang out with us as well. So we're looking forward to it. But just remember that Easter is a very solemn season. It's a reason for it. It's the birth and death. Well, the death and birth, actually, of our Lord. And we have to, I always believe in keeping it kind of low key at Easter. Christmas now is, it's a different vibe. We do a lot more partying, although that's the birthday of the Lord that we grew up believing in. So yes, it's all about people and around the church for Easter.
Wonderful. No, I wanted to share with you guys my latest button option. This one is called Cheers, and unfortunately, Gigi confiscated it from me. So I had to go and find where she put it. But nonetheless, hold on one second. Let me just get our Instagram folks back here. So yes, we've got some really fun things that we are doing around here, including some additional buttons for the election day. I need to speak to Cindy, because during the last election, she would call in saying, red flag. And so the last 2 weeks going into the election, I definitely need that voice of hers saying red flag. But in the meantime, I got my cheers button.
Yeah.
We're ready, folks. Election is here and we are ready for it. So yes, I'm so tickled pink by these little things like this. So I'm going to keep this here. I know she's going to come back after school today and steal it back from me. But we've got this one. We've got blowhorns. So
I was gonna say, Sandy, you need to get one of Shelma's horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some of those too. So we're definitely on it. Yes, thank you, Damien. You're absolutely right about the rebirth that Ozzy was mentioning. The reason for the season here, Easter time, for us to all celebrate. Someone said, absolutely, I love that little moment. You should really consider having hosts or co-hosts out of the political candidates. What do you think? Well, listen, I told you guys that 2025, a lot of big things are happening for CMR Radio. Hopefully it's going to be coming online. We got CMR TV coming online, and we're going to be encouraging content creators. So if you're in the space and you want to have your own show, political or otherwise, listen, you guys can do any kind of show you want. God knows there's so much interesting content out there. I wish my aunt would do a cooking show and needling, because she loves to needle and stitch. And it's so interesting to see that sort of stuff. But any kind of show you want, even government, I'm going to welcome them to come on and to do their own show. The only request is to try not to be boring, because we don't want to snooze fest. We want our audience to enjoy the content. So yes, some people have a knack for it. Some of you might have to work on that and develop something. We want music shows. We've got our Filipino community that we're going to be having come on. We want our Jamaican peeps to come and have their own show. Caymanians, definitely. You guys got to have your own cultural show, music, entertainment. Link me. Because the more content providers and uniqueness we have to keep our culture, heritage, and preserve all things Caymanian, that's what CMR ultimately is all about. Good morning, caller. Honey Chow, how you doing?
Good morning, honey. I just had a call in to make calls. You know, I got a 2 horns. The last one stopped because everybody all of fashion me with the horns.
You tell him, Shelva.
I'm ready. Pete Newland Red.
Good morning, Shelma.
Yes, and listen,
morning, I say, don't worry about that. The jumping on the back, flashing and whatever, because that's what my brother talks about. There, people that talking is that no count from bums come back that can't talk about people that always look to talk. But under the word, you're frightened. They say when they talk about people, that's when they report on if they do talk, remember and talk. Not about it. So don't worry. They're frightened. They're frightened. TCCP gonna kill them. We gonna kill them. We gonna speak the song. By the help of God, because God seen, God know, and He see what we in. So we put God first. God is first.
Amen.
You know.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. She ended the call.
Tell me if you can get a couple rosemary brooms.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Whoever can hook me up with some brooms, make sure you talk to me. But listen, I brought some in from Amazon, and I got to tell you that Michelma, she motivated me when I saw her at Pedro with her horn. I said, Michelma, where did you get that horn from? And so she was telling me she can't even find any Cayman anymore. So y'all know me and Amazon, honey child. They pretty much got everything. So I ended up going to Amazon and actually finding some horns, and I brought in a whole box. So I said to Michelma, I said, when I bring them in, you're going to get first dibs so you can have a backup horn, because God knows she sits in the front seat every single morning at the meetings. And we didn't want her to run out of a horn. So we were like, we're going to make sure she got a horn. All right, caller, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. 2 quick things. I was trying to catch Wayne and Andre, but Oz is there and Robert is there as young Caymanians. But I just wanted to commend Ozzy on the Christian faith and remembering the reason of Easter. Everybody's entitled to, worship who they want to worship or say what they want to say. But in this Cayman Islands, we were founded upon the seas. We were founded on Christian faith. We want to believe in it, fine. And also, I want to say, please look at what the United Kingdom is going through right now when it comes to Christian faith. There's schools canceling Easter. Yesterday, an article came out saying that they don't even want you to put the Bibles out no more. If you go back and you look, or if you do your research, every mayor in the United Kingdom is a Muslim. Okay? So that should tell you the kind of power they're gathering around the world. And that's fine for them, but that is on them for not doing what they were supposed to do. Point 2, Ozzy, Robert, to all of the Caymanians, because I'm not going to tear any Caymanian down unless they are rude and they've tried to destroy our Caymanian people. That's when I am going to come for you, because we got a lot of those. But I want you all to emulate what you see Joel Walton has done. Joel came in. He started a team with young Caymanians when he was in finance. And although, like every other person, we have gone through personal stuff in families, I understand that. But when it came to helping, promoting, listening, caring, respecting Caymanians, I can tell you. Now, I know there may be 1 or 2 places, because everybody have that. Everybody don't look at the same thing. They don't see their problems or the issues. But Joel built a family, so much so that when he had to move from finance and went into the registry, all of his staff walked behind the door. It's the same thing I did for my old boss in cabinet. When there was a member of parliament from West Bay that was trying to destroy her life, I wrote a letter. I went to the deputy governor, that wasn't called deputy governor, it was the chief secretary, and said all of us were going to stand with her and we would close the central nervous system of cabinet down. If you truly are going to build families and bring this country back, we have to get all and behave. That toxic behavior has to be put under control. Our people must be respected. It has to be a board that is established, private and public sector, and make sure that we evaluate situations, because I got civil servants that are home getting paid, right? That have committed things that should be fired. There's reasons why, and there's no person to investigate it. Listen, we need to clean up. You all need to clean up the civil service and also commend civil servants that are doing excellent. And one of them I'm going to shoot out today is Elaine McLean. Excellent. Thank you, Elaine, for being there for all of our students overseas. You're doing great work in the scholarships unit. And I'm thanking you because you came and joined me there in that ministry. And I want to say my hat's off to you. Another one is Drew Conley, also in the Ministry of Education. Excellent. He moved the whole education department from Royal Building, also to computer services. Those people need deputy governor's awards because I'm telling you, I work with them. They know how hard I work, and I know how hard they have worked. So I'm saying congratulations to many of those civil servants. Take time out of your offices. Go around and see the Caymanians that are working hard. Commend them, promote them, and do better for our people. Thank you, guys. Have a great morning and happy Easter to everybody.
Thank you so much. Happy Easter.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it.
But she's absolutely right. There's so many committed, hardworking civil servants, and I remember when I was pushing, and as a minister, you can't get involved with the staff, and that's outside your ambit, unfortunately. That's the chief officer's remit. And so you're in charge of a ministry, but you're really not in charge. So it's a kind of awkward position, and it's one that you have to walk a chalk line on. But I remember encouraging because my good friend Eileen McLean that she's talking about, was trying to get a job there in the secretariat, and Lisa knows the story. And they were giving her, little bits here and there, but she couldn't get a full-time job, and she needed a job because she's a wonderful person and a hard worker. And thank God, I behind the scenes, eventually she was able to secure that position, and there you go. She's now a model civil servant. So we have to believe in we have to take a chance on our people. We have to also, the thing that has to happen, and I don't want to get too deep into this right now because I know we don't have a lot of time, but the civil servants, the civil service, when we had the Public Service Commission back in the day and the personnel department, the civil service was Caymanians' refuge. It was under the control and the complete occupied by Caymanians. Don't know what's happened, but something has gone wrong. And we now have way too many foreigners in our civil service, and I call a spade a spade. That is the bottom line that's going on. And our young people, sadly, when they come up for a chance to be promoted, they are having to compete with people in not just the civil service that are not from here, but they're having to compete with people who are advertising or applying from outside of the country. How in God's name can that be right? That has to be changed. So yes, we don't control the civil service. That is under the remit of the deputy governor and the governor. But we got to have some good discussions. We got to have some serious discussions about this and the way that we see the civil service being developed. We must have a place for our young people, for our people that want to contribute to their country. When our young people go overseas and get educated and get their experience and come back here, there's no reason why. They all should be listed somewhere, and they must keep a track of them, and they must be able to slot in immediately. They shouldn't be coming here and looking. I mean, not everybody wants to be a civil servant, don't get me wrong. But those that do, they shouldn't have to be staying at home for 2 years looking at a job. That should be automatic. They should be put there and a proper succession plan put in place. We have to stop this nonsense of people coming here and becoming permanent. It's just too much. And what they do, and I can't blame them, they get the opportunity then to look out for their fellow man, and they bring more and more, and it continues. And this is what we're facing in these islands. And then we have our young people can't see a future, wanting to leave. Those that are overseas can't see a future, don't want to come back. This is the crux of the matter. And this is the kind of thing that really is eating away at the Caymanian fabric and the social structure. And until we fix it, dog eat us up, what old people say.
Yeah, second that, Osborne, yeah. Civil service needs to operate just like the private sector, in terms of job advertisements, in terms of contracts. There should not be any reasons why overseas contract employed by the civil service get better terms of employment than our own people. This has to stop. The whole civil service. I want to say a big thank you to the hardworking men and women in the service. Thank you for your time, for your service. All of you do an awesome job, and we hearing your frustrations. We can see your frustration. You only need to walk through the government building, and you can see exactly what's taking place. And that picture is not nice. That picture has to be completely changed to embrace and be more Caymanized, in my humble opinion. It's not what we had foreseen the civil service to be. And just like Osborne says, we need a whole revamping of that system there.
All right, very good. We got a question here from Mellow Fellow. Mellow Fellow says, good morning, CMR and guests. Please ask Mr. Ozzie his thoughts of the timing of the renaming of the HSA, since he was the chairman of the board when the original request was made. So this, of course, is renaming it in honor of Mr. Anthony Eden.
Thank you very much, Mellow Fellow. I'm so happy that question came up, because I want to put to rest any misconceptions or awkward thoughts that may be out there on this. This is not a political matter, but the renaming of the hospital was yours truly initiative. In July, I said to my board that I'd been thinking about this, and I wanted to honor my former colleague and good friend, Mr. Eden, for all that he'd done for healthcare in these islands. The records are there to show all that he did. Him and his chief officer at the time, Miss Andrea Bryan, they were a formidable team. So when I brought it to my board, initially, I did not have 100% support, and that's the honest truth, because there were board members who didn't know a lot about Mr. Eden, and there were some who had other people in mind. So August for the board is a slow time, and we don't have a lot of meetings. And so I told them to think about it, and when we came back after the break, as it were, to let's reconvene on it. So when we discussed it, and the facts were brought to the table as to what, in fact, I asked Dr. Jefferson, to be quite honest, to put together a list of Mr. Eden's accomplishments. When that was presented to the board wholeheartedly thought, oh yes, that's a good choice. This is the man to be. So that was like September, October time. By now, November board meeting, which is the board meetings at the end of the month. At the end of November, I skipped out one thing. When I did initially think about it, I mentioned it to the then minister, Ms. Sabrina Turner, my now colleague, and she said, "Oh, I have no issue, proceed. That's you and the board." I said, "Okay, thank you." So now November board meeting was when the resolution was passed, and the board, unanimously passed that to say the hospital should be renamed the Anthony S. Eden Hospital. So of course, comes December, another slow time for the board. It's Christmas. We don't tend to meet after the second week of December, and there was no real board meeting. I left the board on January 13th to join the TCCP. God forbid, the TCCP. So when I did that, my board remaining members, which are all there, at the exception of a new chair, they then got the information over to the ministry and on to cabinet. I was told on January 25th. The sitting government decided to hold the event last week, and it was a very nice event. Mr. Eden and his family attended in force, and we had members of the sitting government along with myself, who was invited, and my board members who I left behind. And it was a really small, nice ceremony in the parking lot. And it's now official. Mr. Eden was thrilled. He was honored. And as it should be, I think being totally, as I said, non-political, I think it's a Caymanian who gave his best to these islands. I work alongside that man. I learned so much. And it gave me, I think, one of the greatest honors of my life to be the person to do it.
All right.
So that's the story behind the renaming.
Yes. And thank you so much, Ozzy, for that recap. And, you know, I would say that there were people who work at the HSA who said that they were not even aware as employees of the hospital that this was taking place, because maybe they would have liked to have come out and supported or whatever. It's when they saw the CMR article. Yeah, it was when they saw the CMR article that they knew that it was going to be happening that day. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but thank you, Ozzy, for recapping exactly how.
I think the whole thing was to try and surprise Mr. Eden. I think he was only told a couple of days before or something. So that's the reason it was kept the way it was kept. And it was a really beautiful surprise for him and his family.
All right. Well, congratulations to Mr. Anthony. Wishing him all the best, of course. All right, folks. Any other questions for Oz? Oh my gosh, I forgot I have a caller in the line. Lord have mercy. I'm sorry, caller. Good morning, caller. My apologies. I hope you're calling toll free from Flo.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
Oh gosh.
Good morning to you and your panel.
Yes.
Good morning.
Most of it, you recognize voice, of course. I thought that it would be remiss of me not to make a little comment. A while ago, you spoke about Mr. Joel Walton, and I want to mention this, that I wish that every boss in Cayman had the qualities of him in running an office and being so nice, and yet, you know, you have to do your work, of course. He's a very efficient person. My daughter worked there, and it's like a family. That's all I could call that office, a family. And thanks to Mr. Joel, that he sees that everybody get along. If you can't work, you don't stay. But there's people who have been there like time, you know, from the time they went to work, they went there and they're still there. Unfortunately, my daughter just had to retire because of illness. But, you know, he was so very helpful to her and directed her what she needed to do, you know. So I want to say that we do have people out there that's Caymanians that can be a good boss. Okay?
Absolutely.
You all have a good day.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Melba. Have a good day.
Well.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Oh, good morning, Sandra.
Morning, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
Good morning, both Mr. Borden.
Morning.
How are you all doing today?
Good, man. Good morning.
To both, thank you, sir. To both Mr. Bordens, I was actually trying to, but wasn't able to get through, ask both Mr. Panton and Mr. Ebanks this question. And as this subject matter and this issue is at the top of our minds right now as it pertains to the referendum, I would like to ask both you gentlemen this question. If the CCP is voted into office, will you seek to immediately remedy the purposeful lack of a referendum law which will see the will of the electorate being honored and seen and be made binding upon the decision-making processes of the MPs themselves? Will you seek, gentlemen, to implement a valid and viable referendum law if you are given the privilege of position of becoming MPs of the Cayman Islands?
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, I think at the moment it's a non-binding referendum. So you're asking if the law would be amended to make these referendum binding. And I see no reason, if you're going to go to, if a country is going to go to the expense and effort to have a referendum, I think it should be promoted properly. It should be factual. Right now we have 3 questions coming up on April 30th that are really without any support around them. They're simply asking you to vote emotionally on 3 topics. We don't have facts to support those questions and what, how do you go about, what's the pros and cons, how do you get it done, that type of thing. I think if it should be that if there's going to be a binding referendum, then it has to come with all the facts, with all the tools that people are well educated on what they're voting on. Then you can hold the government of the day to task. But something that is just put there, as it were, almost as a political, I can't call it more than what it is. It's a political maneuver by the current government to ask the general feelings on this as to how, what the people wish. But at the end of the day, the government, because they know it's going to be a small percentage of people who really are going to be making that decision, and it's non-binding, they can, I mean, yeah, there could be some whiplash from not, let's say if there's a yes and you don't do it, there could be some whiplash, but there's nothing to say that you can't follow the other route. So, yep, if a referendum is done properly and properly put to the people with all of the facts for them to make sound decisions, because we have to give our people credit. Our people are smart and they can make their own minds up if they're given the facts. So that's my answer.
Okay. And may I add to that too? It is the will of the people as a referendum question. So if elected, we would definitely have to consider the wishes of the people and act upon the wishes of the people, bearing in mind that a lot of non-information is available, but yes, we would have to enact on the wishes of the people.
But here's the risk that's run with what they're doing now. Suppose, okay, the government of the day, according to what all we can see and understand, supported a cruise fare. That the minister supported it, and I assume the government supported it. Suppose they let's say they were returned to office, God forbid, but let's say they were, and they run a real risk of getting a no answer on this referendum. What does that leave? Where does that, if you are so adamant that the country needs a cruise fare, where does that leave you then? So this is where I said it is wrong to do it the way that they've done it. It should have been done properly, and it should have been done with all of the facts. Where is it going to go? How's it going to, what form is going to take, and all the other information that you need. What's it going to cost? This is the stuff that you need to come for a proper assessment of a yes or no.
I totally agree, Osborne. Yep.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it is wow. It is quite something to think about the implications of this. But at the end of the day, I think what's important is for people to go out and show your strength in numbers, vote for the candidate of your choice, and also obviously vote on all 3 referendum questions. Very, very important to make sure that happens. All right, we've got a caller in the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning again.
Morning, Danny.
Ozzy, the problem, I can't hear, I don't know if I can still hear your guest, but I don't hear him on the line at the moment.
They're not saying anything. Say hello to Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Hi,
Danny.
Hear him now. At first, the first call, I wasn't able to hear the guest at all. So.
Okay.
So it's working for whatever reason. But on the point that Jonathan was making about having a proper referendum law, that's extremely important in order to have a proper consideration of the pros and cons and a proper public discussion about referendums before they actually go to the polls. And but they you know, like, so when, as a policymaker, when you're thinking about how do you correct for potential issues, the issue that we have here is actually with the policymakers, because what the policymakers did was drafted a question that isn't really rational. And so the question then becomes, how do we protect ourselves from those who should be protecting us? And you see, this is why a law is so important, because it should be set down in the law what the requirements are for a proper process, so that a politician or they can't just up and, you know, do some foolishness, like ask dumb questions like what was asked in relation to this the port. And we need to really address this properly, because where the real issue is with the idea that the government will settle the question. That's the specific point that has to be revised. Leave it right there.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
Danny.
Danny. Thank you, Danny. You articulated it very well, and that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, so on to Easter.
Yes.
And election.
Absolutely. So 2 weeks from today's date. That's it, folks. Ozzy, you're in the home stretch. Robert, you're in the home stretch. I know a lot of people for both Bordentown East and Bordentown West really want to see some changes in both constituencies. And we're hoping and wishing all the best to the two of you for sure, because I can tell you, I'm in Bordentown West, and yeah, we need a change. We can't continue the way we've been going.
Can I have your vote?
I'm thinking about it. Where's my little button? Hold on.
Come on. Listen, Bontown East, on the day of election, come out early. We'll be having transportation provided.
Yes.
If you are ready, if you are in need of transportation, you can call 938-0270. 938-0270. Our grand finale for the Bordens and Wayne will be on the 29th of April, and that will be on Miss Heather's Borden's lawn there in Savannah. So we're encouraging you all to come out and show your support. We'll be starting early and ending early, so you can get up and come out and vote early. Transportation will also be provided to that venue. The number is 938-0270. All your transportation needs, 938-0270. And that goes for Bordentown West as well.
Awesome. All right. Very, very good. Lucky Body says, I voted for you, Robert, already.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucky.
Yes. Lucky can rub off some of that luck on you.
Yeah.
Very, very good. All right, folks. Ozzy Borden, tell us again your next meet and greet, next event, 2 weeks until Election Day.
Okay, Sandy, thank you. My next meet and greet is going to be at your door. I'm not having any more meetings except the finale. My effort is touching as many people as I can. It's been a hectic period from January. I've had a lot of meetings, had events, and therefore this last period for me is all about connecting with the people. And I'm looking forward to various contacts over the weekend, as I said, in church, at campsites, at funerals, wherever, and of course some canvassing in between. But it's important that we, I'm sorry we won't get to everyone. It's 1,700 plus voters in both constituencies, but we're looking forward to touching bases with as many of you as possible We're asking you to come out and vote. Those of you who have voted already by postal ballot, we thank you. I know I got some votes there. I'm sure Rob's did as well. So
Thank you, too.
thank you for your support. And those on election day, we want you to come out early so that you can enjoy the rest of your holiday and get ready for the celebrations later in the evening. We have also a phone number, and as Robert did his, I'm going to do mine. So we have 924-6223. In fact, I got two. 924-7149. That's I'll send that to Sunday. I'll send this to you so you can put it up. But it's for people who may need a ride on election day, and we do have people that need rides. Next week, mobile voting starts and finishes, I guess. And we are asking, all of our seniors who need that to be able to look forward to the elections crew coming along with our agents. There are no candidates. The elections office has made that quite clear. Candidates are no longer allowed to go with the mobile unit. So it's going to be the agents of the candidates, and there's a reason for that. There were some candidates that were getting a bit too pushy, too out of hand with it. But we'll look forward to the mobile voting being done for those who are either working on the day or simply are shut-ins and can't come out and not well enough to attend. And they've applied by tomorrow is the deadline. So yes, it's a very busy time, and I'm very proud of Robert and proud of my entire team because we've kept above the sludge. The sludge is there, it's running, the memes, the nastiness, but it shows a shallow, it shows that they can't argue with us on the issues.
Desperation.
The issues are real, the solutions are real that are being put forward by us. We have a manifesto that's been well thought out. It's made clear for the Caymanian people, every area of that manifesto we sat down and we went through. It is all to put Caymanians first. We make no excuses. It is time that Caymanians take ownership of this island and lead the direction that it's going in. You see, it's not just about the politicians, not because we have Caymanian politicians that the island is going the way Cayman needs it to go. We need to make sure that all of the people in our communities are involved and are doing the best that they can do, that their expertise and their experience is not being used to teach people that come here. No, it is the other way around. It should be the other way around. We should be sitting at the table and they are supporting us where we need help with work permits. Not that they're here on a work permit and we are working for them. It can't be right. Yes, there are some jobs in our economy that we naturally need foreign labor for. But tell me, why does a secretary in a law firm have to be from overseas? Why do we have to have people here on work permits that are, let's say, on the blue collar section? You know, your gardeners and your construction workers and your handymen and all those. Tell me why, and this is a fact. I'm not asking anybody because I know housekeepers, etc. Why do they have to be here on a work permit without a job and looking somebody to please give me some work so I can pay my rent, so I can buy some food? We got to clean the country up. We are wide open and we are not helping our own people. Our people need those jobs that these people are trying to hustle to get. And I'm not blaming the people. They got to hustle because they're in the Cayman Islands. That's expensive. So they got to do the hustle. I get the hustle, so I know. I help some of them.
Right.
And they're from all over the world.
Yes, you're not supposed to be here on a work permit.
You're not supposed to be here. Then you turn around, you get in the car that you can't drive and you crash into everybody. Come on. We got to put a quota on a lot of things. We got to clean this place up. So that's my plea. I beg you to come out on April 30th and vote for TCCP. Vote for Robert and I in Bordentown, Wayne and Heather in Newlands and Savannah. Let's get our other members elected. Everybody loves Andre. Andre can't be premier. He can't do anything without his team. He has 9 more people with him. Give us a chance to support Andre and make a difference and be a part of leading the next government, because we will lead the next government, God willing. As I said, we've kept above the fray. We do not go there. We're not talking about people's families and their activities and all that. They're out in the bar room talking about me. People that I expect better from. I hear it. People come out and say, boy, I thought I was your friend. I'm sorry, I don't have that time. I'm too busy. It's a busy campaign. I don't have that time. If I do get a break, it's not to talk about people. It's to talk about issues and spend time with my family. So, folks, we are the real McCoy. We are the real deal. Give us a chance, and you will not regret it. I wish you and your families a safe, happy, and blessed Easter, and God grant us the ability to change.
All right. And folks, if you know where I can get one of them rosemary brooms for my election day show, by all means, tell me. I'm happy to pay for it. Might have to go check some of my East End folks, see if they got any laying around.
Oh, yeah, we can get some. Yeah, man.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, Osborne Bodden and Robert Bodden. They say it's time to put the Boddens back
in Bodden town. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Thanks to all our listeners and callers and viewers.
Absolutely. Really, really appreciate it.
Okay, my last plug. Kipling Street, number 7 to 4, Thursday evening, 7:30. Hoping to see you there. Blessed Easter to all, and remember the reason for the season. God bless each and every one of you and your families.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll be back tomorrow morning, so make sure you tune in right at 7:30 a.m.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.